Good morning, everyone. Well, so far starts out like kind of just going nowhere here for a while. We'll see where this all goes, but let's take a view of the charts as we always do. So starting off with the cues here, you can see in the daily chart there was 3 days of chopping sideways after that move up. And it was kind of crazy price action, and with the initial move down, and this chart looks a lot better than most do, since the drop didn't follow through to the downside. Rather, it went sideways, and then we got this gap reversal day where it looked like it was going to go down, and it didn't. Rather, it gapped up and made a new all-time high. It was rather amazing considering the drop in semiconductors. However, software is doing well, and there's a lot of mixed messages here. So this virus issue has really played some havoc here in the short term, and it'll eventually go away, of course, as these kind of things always do. But in the short term, they can create a lot of turmoil and uncertainty, and that's what's happening here. So looking at this, that's actually a 5-minute chart. Let's go to a 60-minute chart. We're going to get kind of the same message here, but the gap up and then the move down, the tail there, and then the move up in this sideways action here. So as we look at this and kind of really just forget about the news for now, it's in an uptrend. Whenever the pullback was, whatever made, let's just say, traders uncertain and crazy here with this kind of price action. And this is a picture of crazy or uncertainty. You could say it was resolved. And now there's just this, is it really going to follow through? Is it really going to be some terrible virus that, is going to spread across the world and so on? Who knows? Anyway, I'm just looking at the technicals here. If the market should begin to drop, let's see where we are here, 228.60, 228.60-ish, kind of like right here, right? As we can see, right at the bottom of this little consolidation. And so I've put my first support area here around that 226 area. And the reason being, I pointed this arrow here, that not being where I think things would hold, is because when it gapped up and it went down, it hit the top of this bar and recovered. So that's a reference point. It's kind of used up in a sense. So I think if, and again, thinking is just based on, let's create some kind of a bias for the day here, and then we'll see what actually happens. If the prices start to follow through to the downside here, breaking down through this area, I think at a minimum it's coming down here, and maybe this gap fill would be the ultimate target area somewhere in here, down around 222, 223-ish, and so on. So right now, with markets are just going sideways. Everybody's kind of sitting back. Who's going to blink? Who's going to start selling or buying here, and which way it goes. Now, the reversal after this break lower and recovery makes the weekly chart look like it could have a blast off run to the upside. Just on this particular market, meaning it's in an uptrend. It tried to pull back and it couldn't. And we got a wide range bar breaking out to a new all-time high. So all of this kind of bearish news, it's like, well, here in the NASDAQ 100, saying like, who cares? Who's ever, passing away over there from this virus, we'll send them a card and thank, whatever, and let's make some more money. Kind of cold and, heartless, but I mean, that's what the market is saying here based on this news. So we'll see what today brings us. Right now, we got this sideways price action here. And, if we get any kind of a meaningful break below it, well, then I think we have to consider the short side and consider, we will consider on the SPX bear call spreads if that begins to break. So let's just take a look at that quickly. And so here we have this pattern where, the S&P gap up, gap up, gap up, and make a new all-time high. And then things stalled going sideways up there for a good part of the day. And then they break. Then there was this minor recovery in the latter part of the day on Friday. But we've got a bit of a topping pattern here, not, as bullish looking as the Qs. Now, while we got the wide range bar, this kind of leads me to thinking that, well, when we were looking at this part of the chart, it's like, if this goes sideways for a while, now we're going to go down here. Well, the concern of the virus alleviated and gap up, and that changes things. So rather than, we have to change with the markets as they change. And that is a big reason why many get destroyed in the markets, because they create a bias and then things change and they can't accept it, or part of their plan it doesn't, contain other strategies, or they've got their money, with the bias of what's happening in the moment, and then they just can't bring themselves to take a loss. So eventually they take giant losses. Anyway, so now what we have here is a trading range. And what's in question is whether it can break out of the trading range, or it's going to go back down to the bottom of the trading range, or somewhere in the middle, which again brings us back to, today of being, I'm not so sure what it's going to do at this point in time. The run up into resistance and the stolen momentum would suggest a move down, but of course we have to see it actually break. So a little bit extra weakness here. And I think a bear call spread above this level, it should be good to go. Paul's got 33.20, 33.40. I think that might be a bit aggressive, but let's see if we get more of a crack here. We'll take a look at the futures. And there's the spiders. Oh, you're thinking of support and resistance? Oh, we'll see how it all shapes up. 33.31 as I'm speaking. All right, so it's coming down. 321.25, getting closer to this bottoming tail bar here. And we'll get to the futures. We'll get a better view of this, but downtrending. Where's there some support here? That low 331. All right, so 331-ish was that area of that bottoming tail bar, and there's a little unfilled gap there. So 330, 331. We'll see what happens when it gets there. As you can see, the unfilled gap. Going to be a little tricky. I think it's going to be a tricky day. We looked at the Qs. The Russell, right, that showed more weakness than the others. It had the breakout failure. So a lot more uncertainty there rather than, those green bars that we're looking at the weekly here, this breakout and failure. So you've got, a lot of traders, institutions that got caught now that are kind of like, hey, is this recovery for real? Was I saved? Is this going to be okay? Or so their fingers have to be on the trigger to kill, or exit based on some other weakness here, because, with a drop like that and this size of recovery, it's really kind of a coin flip which way things are going to go. And, that's how I'm seeing things here initially, is that starting the day is going to be a coin flip, and maybe the beginning of the week. Transports, same thing, breakout and a failure, held this major support level. So which way is it going to go? Can it recover? Can we get a miracle here? Or is it going back down to the bottom of the range? I don't know yet. Futures. Good morning, YouTube. Futures, there's the big move. You don't see the gaps, but you see the big wide range reversal, and momentum begins to slow. Just a different picture, communicating the same thing, but the same, message here. So that kind of a move is greater than 100% retracement. So now let's just say, well, halfway back down, which it's already gone down to, and it bounced from. So the bounce couldn't get through any resistance. and now it's rolling back over. So going into the day here, the question becomes, well, can this hold this low area, or does it come back down into this area? So for myself, I'd prefer it come down here. That's my personal preference for a deeper retracement into this support level here. And then we then go and look at a smaller time frame. Now, that being said, if it comes down here and I get a pattern where it'll spend a little time backing and filling down there, well, I would consider that as a long. But, whereas this maybe is an area where it maybe turns up in a couple of days and goes higher. So I just keep coming back to the same theme as, for the moment here, I'm just not sure what it's going to do. But this morning we have some weakness, kind of neutral to, bearish weakness here. And we'll see how far it actually goes. Remember, the weekly charts here, they look okay. It's like uptrend. Things got a little crazy. Buyers came back in again, and maybe this is going to be a consolidation week. 3,300 is critical. Maybe. I don't know how critical it is, Paul. I mean, markets see areas. I don't like the word critical. It could come down into here somewhere, and this is where the support is. And I will agree that there isn't much support down below this area right here, but let's see what happens. It could be a critical area for today, but remember the concept in MTS and the swing course. Yes, we do look at support and resistance. We do recognize that there are voids, and breaking support opens up the possibility, and let's even go so far as say likely probability that it goes down there. But the other concept that keeps us honest, so to speak, in our analysis is the concept that support can be created. So that keeps you from getting caught in the past. And so that's another conversation on how that all happens. But anyway, so we'll see what happens at this area here today. Looking at the NQs, right, showing relative strength, just hanging up there. I know this should be green, but we can make a green one. Right? Let's see if the NQs actually hold. So if the S&P is dropping down to that support level and the Qs are going to be holding this area showing relative strength, and I see buyers start stepping up in the NQs, that's going to lead me to have a bias that the S&P is going to hold that level because the NASDAQ is showing that strength. And just like Friday, right, the S&Ps were holding up, the Qs were holding up. And once the Qs started to give it up, well, then everything started to give it up. And let's just throw this up here. All right, so 9,300 and ultimately 93. Somewhere in here. Anyway, we got it. We got our areas. YM, right? Getting a bit deeper already. And again, the minor support that we use in reality, what we're really looking at is what happened here. Right? Remember, minor support is actually a subjective concept. Whereas if you look to the left of what happened between these bars, right, it's this consolidation that happened right here, which was the reaction to what happened on the way up, right? So and we teach and utilize the concept of minor support, but we also go into an advanced knowledge of recognizing the fact it's what's directly to the left, not what is beyond the left. It's the reaction on the way up, what traders are actually utilizing as their reference point. All right, Russell futures, right? Those got room to come down into this area here. And the same thing. Can it hold, right? this low that it made this morning. So, we're caught between reference points within larger reference points. And so again, the uncertainty, you go into the morning anyway with the thought of don't be the frog in the blender today, getting caught in the chop. Let's wait for a pattern that develops that has greater odds. Oil continues to be weak. It's down here at the bottom of the range. We're watching to see if this continues. It's already a big move. Maybe it W bottoms here. We don't know. We'll see what happens. Bonds are pushing up, and that is a little bearish for the markets. And so our resistance is up here. So unless this double tops, if it keeps soaring up, that's going to lead me to think that the markets are still going to be under pressure. And of course, gold is showing a little bit of strength because the markets are weak here. Overall, still a bullish pattern on the higher time frames. Silver's rather messy here. Maybe it plays catch up and so on. So Dan, there's a couple in here on YouTube asking, so you can do those. GLOP and ODA. And that's it for me.
You're always welcome to answer them live, obviously. All right, good morning. All our positions are good. We started adding bear call credit spreads Friday, and every one of them's doing fine. One right here, IBM we're in. Apple we did, getting a nice gap down on some news, slowing stuff over in China. Just glancing. Yeah, everything's fine. Tesla, wow. Nice little gap up there. 797. There's, no pattern though. Well, that's a bullish gap. What can I say? We actually had a put spread on it from Thursday to Friday, and we have a very nice gain. We had a nice gain on the call spread on the way down, put spread on the way up. Over 30-minute high, that might be a put spread idea, but we'll see what the broader markets are doing, obviously, which are right now, we got a morning bearish bias. Gappers here. Amazon for Nick. Oh, let me answer Octa and Glob. Let me answer Amazon. Amazon's, strength to all-time highs. Gapped up, coming into the gap fill. I'm not going to fight the broader market weakness until it stabilizes, unless it's genuinely on its own page. But Friday's low should hold. It's Amazon, so you'll probably get juice even under Thursday's low. Glob, it's a big mess. I mean, it's got overlapping bars, red, green, red, green, red, green. That's what we call a minor bull sandwich. It's a climactic sell setup on the weekly, topping tails. So nothing to do there. Octa, it's a put spread idea. It's not a directional because it's just a sideways mess. But I like that it gapped up, pulled in, bottoming tail pre-market. If it holds, just eyeballing, this tail over here, maybe 127.50 would be a put spread idea for Friday. Car, 35.50, bullish gap, but no pattern. Remember these things getting creamed with, Uber and Lyft taking a lot of their business? That's an impressive recovery on the weekly chart. I mean, think about it. I mean, that's fundamentals. If you're going on vacation, I guess you still need to rent a car for the week, whatever. I haven't rented a car in years because of Uber. And one day I'm going to sell my car. And that's what's been hurting the big automakers too. Mac 2650, it's a bullish gap. over this ugly red bar. So that's a pro gap, maybe a put spread. Hewlett Packard, nice gap. Nice railroad, 20 and 50 moving averages, and it's holding well here. I don't know what the news is. I don't care, but I'll keep an eye on that for a put spread. It looks good. 1210. It's a nice bullish gap. 30-minute high maybe. SKT, 14 bucks. It's bullish over Friday's bar, but it's still swimming upstream too much for me, so I'm just going to delete you. Tesla we looked at, Apple we looked at, down $5 now. Very nice. We'll cover half of our call spread, 5-minute high, and I said 30-minute high the back half. WWE got a downgrade. No pattern there. 66 bucks, bullish gap to these prior highs, but no pattern. Lima Bravo, I think, is in buyout talks. So we aren't going to mess with that. MPAA, I only see one print or so down here, but we'll come back to it. These are some earnings stocks. This was a recent IPO. I don't know what CAN does, but it is not off to a good start. That's at all-time lows right now. Looks horrible. 1269, bullish gap and no pattern. AGN 190, no pattern here. Semis. Yeah, I like, I gave SMHs as a bear call credit spread, but now the gap down is going to mess it up. Tanya, for the bear call you sent on SPY. No, it's Wednesday. Yeah, it is Wednesday. Yeah, there was not enough juice, Tanya, for Monday. Yeah, I gave a bear call credit spread under Friday's low, and it's gapping under it. So we're going to have the same credit, desired credit issue. Can't tell what you're doing, but bottoming pattern, breakout failure. I'm just going to cancel you. Lima, big gap, but gap's too big. This is a big mess. GFN, big mess, light volume. These were earnings stocks. I don't like all the tails, overlapping bars. 37.50. Now this was a bullish watch on like 1 or 2 more day pullback, but the gap's messing us up now. Nice little retest on the monthly with the new low, a plus. That's what we call a W pattern, new low plus. That's what that is. You're a big mess. Yeah, I mentioned in the letters, I think Greg did too, in the video, that we're going to be watching the oil sector. DO had earnings. That thing looks horrible. Can you believe this? I don't know what got oil stocks rocking and rolling back here. I guess that's when oil spiked to 150, right? Yeah, right here, 7 and 8. Yeah, not to 150. Yeah, well, whatever it was. Yeah, it was 150. I think crude got up to like 146. So dough looks horrible. I do have Oxy on my watch list. It's stronger than a bunch of others. But I mentioned the ETF trader. We'll see if we can get a retest here. But right now, pre-market, 19 bucks. It's not looking so hot right now. Maybe we get a new low divergence, makes a new low and snaps right back. Miami, no, let me clarify. SMH is, no, spiders and SPX are the only ones that have intra-week expirations. So I gave a Wednesday expiration for spiders. SMH is Friday expiration, 5 days. Alex, I just said it. I said if it can form a W bottom. It's still in a downtrend, daily, weekly, monthly. I'm just saying, you know, we always say if a setup can do XYZ. I'll give you another example. Regardless of what happens today, what if tomorrow it gaps at the 20 bucks right over this 1998 Thursday's high? I'll be buying a 10-minute high because of this price void. So no, I got zero interest in this unless it gives me a bullish turn. And I just said, it ain't looking so hot right now. Gapping down, Mylan. Some of these were from your list, Alex. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying I said SMH. Let me check right now. You are absolutely right. So that is a typo. Yes. Friday expiration is the 14th. It's Valentine's Day. So yeah. Yeah. But I mean, you know, it would be so easy to figure that out on your own in a Miami chart. If you can put your drop down, you could figure that out so easy because I said it closed at 67 cents. And then you just look at it and you're like, duh, yeah, that was a typo. But let me correct it here in the sheet. And I'll correct it in the letter also right now. It will only take a second. It's 9:29. I'm through all the gappers. The rest of my stuff is just watch list items, but not gappers. All right, that is done. Chuck, can you change your drop down, all panelists and attendees? Send me another email because I answer all emails and I don't remember that one. But the answer to your question is, all right, Apple's perking here. Let's see what the midpoint is. All right, 67 cents. Wow, I was hoping it'd be less. Let's cover half Apple here. The call spread, move stop break even. I don't like the action, the bullish action.